Okay.
Okay. Okay, so the day before Thanksgiving in 1971, a man named and identified himself as D.B. Cooper walked into the airport in Portland, Oregon. He was wearing a typical business suit, tie, and raincoat that was all black, carrying a briefcase. He bought a one-way plane ticket to Seattle with all cash and just gave the people at the counter the name Cooper. He was the last person to board the plane. Apparently, the plane 727 was the only airliner where there was a successful parachute jump that could be made from the passenger cabin. The flight attendant named Florence Schaffner, I believe, said he was handed a note by Cooper as he constantly looked at him until he said, "I want you to read the note." The note said, "Miss, I have a bomb in the briefcase. I want you to sit beside me." Inside, there was a big battery with 6 dynamite sticks wrapped around it, and he said to the flight attendant, "All I have to do is attach this wire to this gadget here, and we'll all be dead." The flight crew notified air traffic control about the hijacking. They then contacted the FBI. Cooper's demands were that he wanted $200,000 in cash in a knapsack and 4 parachutes, which to him were 2 front pack parachutes and 2 backpacks, which I don't understand that, but I mean, it was back in 1970s, so who knows?
I think they're different types of parachutes.
Like,
You
okay.
can have one where you wear it on the front and then like it clips in the back and then
Oh,
you
that
pull it
makes
from the
sense.
front versus having one in the back that has like the strings up here that you pull.
Okay.
I believe they're different.
That makes sense. He also specified that the airline must remain in the air until the money and the parachutes were ready in Seattle for when they landed. He also didn't want the passengers to be told that the airplane was being hijacked. The airline agreed to pay the ransom, so the FBI at Seattle figured out a way to obtain, oh my gosh, the money. Each bill was photographed and the serial numbers were recorded. Once the plane landed, Cooper wanted the plane to be refueled immediately. All of the passengers needed to remain on the plane until all of Cooper's demands were met. The ransom money was brought aboard by a flight attendant that contained 10,000 $20 bills and weighed 21 pounds, along with 4 parachutes. Like, how do you carry that much money with you? Like, what are you plan? Like, how do you plan to escape
Yeah.
with, I don't know. Like, yeah, it's 21 pounds, but it's like, where are you gonna put all that? You know?
Also, that's not a lot of money. When was this?
It was in the 70s.
I wonder how much it would be
1970.
today. Was it $20,000?
200,000.
Oh, okay. That's a lot
Oh,
of money.
so that was a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, they paid like raspberries for houses back then.
Do you want to
like?
Yeah.
You want to look it up? How much $200,000
Yeah.
would be from
Yeah, that's a good
1997 to today?
Should I keep going or should I wait?
Pause.
Okay.
Cut this out. Pause. They're pissing me off. Those of you watching on YouTube, don't have kids.
They probably can hear everything.
Oh yeah.
Might want a dollar sign in front of that.
I don't have headphones, so I can't hear it.
Oh, I thought you were looking.
I thought you looked at me because of the kids, and I was just like, yeah, nope.
What?
No.
What? Say
Okay,
numbers. That's
here we go.
embarrassing.
Okay. $200,000 in 1970 is the equivalent to $1,574,519.89 in 2023.
Wow.
Thank you. I was close.
No, you weren't.
No, you
Shut
weren't.
up. You guys are so mean.
That's staying. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I know it is.
That will be in the podcast.
Well, it's already in the YouTube, so
Oh, yeah,
true.
that's accurate. Everybody saw you do it.
I tried. I really did.
Okay. Where was I?
The money.
The money.
Oh,
Oh,
and the 2 parachutes.
yeah, the airline agreed to pay the ransom. And then I already said that they photographed and like took the serial numbers.
Nope, you didn't say
I
that.
didn't say that? I thought I did. Anyway.
They just brought it onto the plane to him. That's what
Okay,
I
so
think.
the FBI at CIA staying on the plane until all of Cooper's demands are met. Did I say that?
Yep.
You
Okay.
did.
The ransom money was brought aboard by a flight attendant. Oh, this is where I was telling. Oh, I
yes,
already
yes.
saw this. Oh, my bad. Can
okay.
you just cut that out?
Yes.
Okay. All the passengers were finally allowed to get off the plane and had no idea they were in such danger until they were met by FBI agents and debriefed. There was nobody on board that could recall anything about the man with the briefcase on board. Though the passengers were allowed to exit the plane, Cooper demanded that the flight crew and one attendant had to stay on board. He ordered the pilot to fly from Seattle all the way to Mexico City at a height of 10,000 feet and at a speed of 200 miles per hour. Which is like, why is
How did- what is
so
How
normal?
specific? Yeah, and how did he know that? Like, do people know that regularly? How high
I
they
don't
fly?
think
Because
so.
I
I
think
don't.
you
I don't
only,
know
I
that.
think you'd only know if you were into things that were flight related,
Yeah, so I wonder if he's like somehow involved in aviation.
maybe.
Okay. anyways.
But is like 200 like miles per hour, is
Is
that
that-
slower?
Is that normal? Like, I don't
No,
even
it's
know.
just slower speed.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess, cause like I didn't know that, but when I read it, it said at a slow speed of,
Okay.
and I was like, oh,
I wonder what the normal speed is.
I know,
Weird.
so many questions.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, Cooper also made another unusual request to have the stairwell to the plane to be lowered before takeoff. The pilot and him argued about this back and forth until Cooper finally agreed to take off without it being lowered. I don't
Why would
understand.
he need that down?
Yeah, I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know, like when I was reading this, I was questioning it too, because it's like trying to think, I'm like,
What's the reason? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want that to stay down.
I don't know.
I don't know.
So they took off and the Seattle control tower altered all other aircrafts to remain clear. Cooper told the remaining flight attendant to go into the cockpit and to close the curtain between the coach and the first class cabins. As the attendant turned around to close the curtains, she said she saw him tying something to his waist with what she thought was a rope. Later in the cockpit, the light flashed, indicating the hijacker was attempting to operate the door. The pilot then mentioned that they were experiencing a rapid change in their air pressure. So I was like,
He's trying
is
to
he
jump
really
out.
to jump?
He's
Yeah,
trying to
he's
jump out.
gonna. By the way,
That's why he looked it up though. He wanted it to be a slow speed and he wanted it to be at 10,000 feet because he knew that he'd be able to parachute out. That's what it was.
that
Okay,
was his
that makes more
escape plan.
sense. But,
Also, to note, a normal flight speed is 547 to 575 miles per hour.
so fast.
Wow.
So I had to look it up because I
Holy
needed
crap.
to know.
Yeah.
But according to this, what popped up on Google, which is epicflightacademy.com, that is what
job.
they said. I know, I
Sources.
cited my sources.
Good job.
But I needed to know. But I bet you that was his escape plan, is that he was probably gonna parachute. And it was gonna be harder for them to find him because he could be literally in the middle of somewhere.
Well, that, and I'm wondering about the stairwell then too. Like if they lowered he would be lower to the
Oh,
ground.
Maybe he could have
See
walked
what-
onto the stairs and jumped off the stairs.
Yeah, I don't know, cause
Like
it's still
he-
going really
right?
fast.
Ah, yeah, I guess. I don't know.
So I,
1,000 feet is really low,
I know, but
I would
like,
say. For
like how
yeah.
would you stand on this? Like you would have to like be on the stairwell while they took off. Like,
No,
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
like, he probably
because-
thought he was gonna go out and jump off from there.
I know, but how can you do that
How
when
can
they're
you-
going so fast?
I don't know.
But
I don't even know.
also,
I
what
don't know.
door did he try opening the door with the stairwell, or was it the emergency door?
Who knows?
Because
Yeah, I
if
don't
it's the
know.
normal emergency door that you open on a
Everyone
plane,
does stairs anyway.
there's no way he could have gotten to
No.
the stairs.
Right.
And
Oh, I
either he
wonder-
was too dumb to know that, or it was that door and that was his plan.
I wonder if that was what the rope was for. So he could lower
Oh.
himself.
Like tied it to something and then go out.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking.
This is
Oh.
giving dumb criminal.
Yeah. Although he might be the smart one.
I mean,
Maybe.
maybe, but like his methods don't really
Seem
fully-
odd, yeah.
They're very madness.
Yes.
All right. Somewhere over the forests of Washington State, Cooper jumped. Upon landing in Reno, Nevada, every inch of the 727 Wait, what?
727.
727. I don't know why I am struggling with numbers too.
It's a thing.
It is. Rewind.
Yep.
727 airplane was examined for clues as to who DB Cooper really was, but he didn't leave behind anything identifiable, no fingerprints, personal items, and no other clues that could lead to possibly identifying him. A composite drawing of Cooper's face was made with the help of the flight attendants, and there were different scenarios created to help determine what may have happened to him after he jumped. The crew believed that Cooper had jumped somewhere near the southern tip of Washington state and would be found near the border by Lake Merwin, ending 20 miles north of Portland. A large white object was seen floating in Lake Merwin, but divers found nothing. So you'd think that that white object would have been a parachute.
Yeah.
I wonder if he ended up going to Canada. Because Washington's really close to Canada.
That would have been smart, but they said the southern tip. of
Yeah, so I
Washington.
don't know.
So he would have had to go through up the whole state of Washington to get to Canada.
Maybe that was his plan all along.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. Maybe he was trying for Canada and he didn't quite make it, so then he still had to trek and maybe he did that and he went to Canada.
Well, there's a lot of woods. Well, and
Oh, yeah,
grizzly
he could
bears.
hide.
And grizzly bears.
Yeah, he also could
Washington.
die. So there's that.
So he could have gotten mauled by a grizzly bear, or he could have made it to
Mhm.
Canada.
Yep.
There were beliefs of Cooper being able to survive the jump because thoughts were he had come prepared. No one knows if he wore anything under his suit, what he had in his pockets. As long as someone had a type of knife, cigarette lighter, and clothes, they could have lived indefinitely. The chute was believed to be buried as well as the briefcase. His money was thought to be put in his coat, and then he possibly headed to a big city someplace. That was just like a
Hmm.
theory.
Yeah,
It was like,
one of the theories.
yeah, one of the theories. The search for DB Cooper continued, but with no new clues. November 1978, so like what, 7 years later, a hunter in the Washington forest discovered a plastic sign from 727, which was ripped from the lower stairwell of Flight 305.
Hmm.
15 months later, on February 10th, 1980, wait, what? Oh yeah. A family was preparing a barbecue on the shore of Columbia River. The Columbia River, oh my gosh. 20 miles
Mhm.
southwest of what was to be believed to be Cooper's jump point, because they were trying to dig a fire pit, but dug up something else. Stacks of waterlogged bills totaling $5,880.
Whoa.
One of the FBI agents confirmed it was part of Cooper's ransom.
See, he
Oh,
made it. So
so
he
he did
landed
make it.
fine. Buried some of the money. Uh-huh. Okay, keep going.
So 294 bills found, and all of those serial numbers are on the ransom list, so that money was definitely what
Cooper's.
identified, yeah, as having come
Wow.
from the particular ransom. Some people believed that since this was found, it meant that Cooper perished, but others don't think that's the case because of not finding the full like $200,000. Others thought that Cooper struck again because only 5 months later, $500,000 was extorted by another hijacker. This guy's name was Richard McCoy. He was sentenced to 45 years for air piracy, but he escaped and he was killed in a gun battle with the FBI.
So we'll never know.
Yeah, because of the resemblance between the two pictures, some believe that D.B. Cooper and Richard McCoy were the same man. The flight attendant, though, believed, like from the first story from Cooper, one of the flight attendants believes that the composite that was drawn up of Cooper never really looked like him in the first place.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so Florence, the flight attendant, says that she will always remember everything about his face, the color of his eyes, his eyebrows, his features, everything, like,
Hmm.
because,
She was in it.
yeah,
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 trauma.
you don't forget
You
that.
don't forget. Yeah.
no. There was other theories that, oh, this is a very interesting thing that I read. I didn't write it in my script though, so I'm sorry. But it said that there was another theory of DB Cooper was a transgender woman. And I was like, what?
Oh,
That's crazy.
easily disguised.
That would explain
Mhm.
why
He
they've
has
never
found.
been found. But the other thing that I was thinking, like, as you're reading this, is like, it sounds to me like an elaborate suicide plan. You make the plane think that you have a bomb, you get a ton of money, you jump, everybody thinks you died, and either you have this whole new life,
Right.
or you just did like, well, you committed suicide,
And you
in
want to be
like,
famous.
and you
Yeah.
were able to be like famous and make all these people wonder what happened.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's what was going through my head almost this entire time.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
could be.
that's what my initial thought was too. when I
Or
was
tying
reading
in,
it.
yeah, or tying into the transgender thing, maybe they did this because this was like their last thing to do as a man, and then as if they survived and landed, they were gonna fully transition into.
Well,
That's in
women.
the 70s.
I
guys.
know, but
Nobody
look
was
at,
doing
like,
that stuff.
So going off of the transgender theory, Barbara Drayton told friends that she was D.B. Cooper. She was telling people. So she was a librarian and skilled recreational pilot and parachutist who
Mhm.
claimed she'd carried out the hijacking 2 years after undergoing gender reassignment surgery.
That
In the
explains.
70s? I really don't.
I
that
don't think
was a
so
thing.
either.
True,
I don't
but
know.
that would explain why they knew to have the plane fly at 10,000 feet,
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
have
they
the
had
thing
the
down,
experience.
and why it needed to be slower,
Yep.
and how the parachute worked.
Mhm.
Yeah, their theory about D.B. Cooper in general was that he was a flight attendant. So like that he knew all the basics,
Yeah.
like
He
he
would've
knew what
needed
to
to
look
know.
for,
Yeah.
he needed to know the basic information of how to do that.
Yeah.
Also, that's why they also thought that he was Richard Floyd McCoy, like the other hijacker, because this guy was actually a pilot and he was in the military and things like that, so he
Mhm.
knew
He knew as
what
well.
to do as well.
Okay.
So
that
it's
makes
like you
sense.
don't know. I don't know. There's just so many theories out there that's like hard
It just
to.
sounds like the best heist ever. Like,
Yeah,
I know, like,
yeah.
how were they never found?
But also, I don't know if it could be the same guy, because it's like you just got in our day, what was it, $1.5 million? You really need to strike again? 2
Yeah,
years
yeah,
later?
that's
Yeah,
true.
but if
Or they were in
his
cahoots.
motive isn't,
Maybe.
if his motive isn't just the money, then maybe he's doing it because he actually, like, he got a high from doing it,
Yeah.
you know?
That's
Mhm.
true.
That could be.
Like, yeah.
I
Okay.
hate it. I hate that there's no solved. There's
Well,
nothing solved here.
That's so
Yeah.
funny
just
because
the
you
thing
love
is-
conspiracies. That is,
Mm,
I know,
Hilarious
and it's
to
like
me.
you can believe it. Is it ever going to be proved? Who knows? But like this is like a crime,
Right,
you know, like something
right.
that
this is
actually
a crime
happened.
though.
Who knows if the conspiracy is real or not?
yeah,
Yeah.
and going off of what Lexi said and like what I initially thought too is because of the resemblance between the two pictures. Like some believe that. Wait, that's not what I was going off of. Just kidding. Oh, I already said that. Okay, the scientist named Tom Kay had doubt that the FBI's theory of the money washing down the river where the estimated Cooper's drop zone was unlikely because he stated that the specific I don't know, like diatoms. I don't know what that is. Diatoms.
Like the dyes in the money.
Maybe present on the money showed that the cash had been buried months after the hijacking.
Mm,
So like the
Oh.
FBI thought that he died, like
Right.
that he was gone.
but they could tell
But then,
based on
yeah,
the
the
ink
science
or whatever
yeah.
on the money that it hadn't been buried until months after. But
Well, the
Like
other thing is didn't they record every bill and it had like a serial number to it? So
Yes.
they should have been able to look up the serial number.
no, they confirmed that it was the same money, but they thought
Yeah.
that was confirming that he had died. Like, and it just like dirt had covered it over
Oh,
the
so
years.
you're
Yeah.
saying that based on the condition of the money, there's no way it was like buried right then, it was buried later. Okay.
Yeah.
So somebody he thinks buried.
And there were never any traces of a body found to this day.
Yeah, I think he made it.
Yeah, I
Unless it
think
was
he
the same
did a
person.
new identity and just
Yep.
went
Yeah,
somewhere
Lived a
else.
new life.
Yeah, he
Especially he's
either
that
made
close
it
to
or-
Canada. He was in Washington. Like
Once you get to Canada, like
you're gone.
you can go anywhere.
You're free, mate.
You're free, mate.
Sorry, that's Australia.
That is-
Oh my goodness.
You're free, don't you know?
Oh
Oh,
my
Jen, eh?
You say that.
Hey.
I know. Eh?
Eh, eh.
Well, that's all I have.
Yay, Jordan.
Yay.